Hello, everyone, and we are live. Today, I'm joined by my good friend Zia. Uh, Welcome on, Zia.
Hey there.
It's been a long
Thank you
time
for
since
inviting
we.
me.
Yeah, sure. I'm hoping that we can have you more often, and we can keep the conversations going on a regular basis. Last we talked about this big hack of Bybit, how it might have happened.
Mhm.
So that's one of the main topics that we are going to cover today. What happened? Which group became was held responsible for that? Which is apparently Lazarus, and the new findings that you have had during your research. But let's start off by some new kinds of scam that we need to be aware of. Pig butchering scam. What is it about? And to be honest, I also read your post on your Persian page. Uh, I couldn't differentiate it much from some other scams that I knew. So, but to be honest, I didn't read it that carefully. I didn't have the time.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I'm very willing to learn more about it.
Yeah, that's cool. So I've been studying a few stuff in security and privacy and also about all sorts of scams happening to people. We've had like users coming to me and telling me about like, okay, I got scammed this way, that way, and you need like, can you help me follow up with these and see where the funds are going, and if we can hopefully retrieve the funds. Sometimes it's possible, not always. It's impossible, but so I was like working on some of these cases, and there's a lot of pig butchering scams nowadays, and actually the question you're asking is a very very good question. It's like, what's so different about pig butchering scams, and what are they, and how do they do these things? So it is quite interesting. Like the name is jarring. It's like pig butchering. It's like it's not a usual name. It's not like a pump and dump or a rock pool or things like that. It's a very very hostile name. It's very gruesome, and it does come from the concept that like during farming of the pigs, you fatten them up, so you give them food and like nurture them until like they get really fat, and then you butcher them and like harness the meat. So that's what the scammers are doing. Basically what they're doing is they just they so it's basically very similar to the other scams, like the social media scams. Somebody sends you a message, they say, hey, are you interested in doing trading or something, which we were always like making fun of as like, who would fall for such a scam? And that's, we know that some people actually fall for those scams, but the reason that were kind of strange for us, it was like, dude, you just sent me a message and you asking me to invest in something, and that's gonna be a red flag. Whatever you do, even if your party is an unaware person, it's gonna be like the victim will know that it's not, they're not gonna invest in something or send money because they don't trust you. And that's like the bug here with the the usual social media scams that kind of shifted toward becoming pig butchering scams now. So they just progress. It's just like the usual social media scams, but like better now, but more effective now. And what they do is like they just kind of pretend that they just bumped into you on social media. Is not like as intrusive as the previous scams that you were asking you to invest in something. It's just like, oh, sorry. It's like, hey, John, we should like, sorry, I'm gonna be late. or something. You say like, I'm not John, I'm somebody else. So they're like, oh, sorry, I sent a message by mistake. I'm sorry. And then they come back the next day and the day after that, and they just send everyday chit chat and messages and try to have a conversation with you, and then you become
Okay,
friends.
okay.
You're gonna figure out, yeah, you're gonna figure out that they live in the same place. Like, if you're like living in London, they would say like, yeah, I do live in London too, or probably like in England too, and this and that, and I'm actually like a student here or something. And then they carry on the conversation and they try to be friends, and some of them even become lovers, like long distance kind of lovers, because they never see them probably. And the interesting other interesting part is like, these scams may continue their scam, or their plan to scam the victim for a really long time too. I've heard of like cases going more than 3 months or 6 months,
Mhm.
having conversations, talking to them all the time, and
Now
it's
that you are saying that, now that you're saying that, I realized that there were some messages that I recently received. There were so many messages, yeah, hey, yeah, let's trade, let's mine Bitcoin, stuff like that. But calling me with a different name. Yeah, I have been receiving these messages from many beautiful women. I don't know how they found my number, but yeah, I said I have a girlfriend.
yeah. So it's like, these people do not, uh, like the pig butcher scams, do not intrude in your space. It's not like they won't be asking you about like cryptocurrency at all. It's like they start with something like, oh yeah, sorry, it's like, they're just gonna send you a message by mistake. It seems like an innocent wrong message that you've received, like, oh, okay, who's John? This is not me. This is not John here. And they would say, oh, but oh, sorry, I just sent you, it seems like I sent you a message by mistake or something. And they will pick up the conversation somehow. They would say that, oh, are you in like this place or something? They're going to research you, probably even check your pictures and see, oh, I see that you've been into this university, so I've been into that university too. So something like that. So you get affiliated with them, and then they start talking and talking and going on forward for a long time, even having calls with them, voice messages, pictures, video messages, video calls. And this is not usual with the scammers. Like, scammers do not show themselves to you most of the times. Like, this is kind of strange. So what they're doing is, the scammers either employ people, or actually exploit some people for using like them in front of cameras and in front of phones to have calls with you, send you messages, send you voice messages. Or they deploy like AI software to change their pictures and their voice and everything, so they would look like somebody else. So you won't be seeing them, and you're going to be seeing somebody else. And then once you gain their trust, like once they gained the victim's trust, then they would like start their operation. And like, they may hint at like, I've been doing some investing like this, and it's like with a really familiar and well-known platform or something, and they would like lead you to go and use something like Coinbase or others. But that's not, they're not going to scam you with Coinbase probably. It's like, they want to let you know that, okay, you could get money here on Coinbase, and you see it's a legit platform or something. And the next time they would let you know about the platform, it's not going to be a legit one. So it's just they just do it on a very granular scale. It's like with small steps and with the most trust that they could like get out of you. So it's like the targeting the nature of like human beings trusting each other after a while during conversations with each other. So that's what they're targeting, and it is very effective. And these scams actually are not like
Do
small
you know
scale
people?
scam
Do you know people who
projects.
have become prey to that?
Yes, a lot of them actually, and I have been following up on cases. It seems that most of these scams are actually operated in Southeast Asia, like in places like Myanmar, Cambodia, places like that. Or yeah, so and it's like most of these have like they call them like scam center. So a lot of people go like are working in complexes. So it's like a big large scale operation of scamming. It's not like a small scale thing. So there's a lot of people. Some of them do that willingly. A lot of them do not do that willingly. Actually, the scammers are like this is kind of very strange. Actually, the scammers, most of them are not the scammers themselves. They are like people who are scamming on behalf of somebody else because like they have been forced to do such a thing. And that's like probably a story for another time. And so yeah, I've been following up on some cases and researching stuff to see what's happening with these with the victims funds. And the victims like bitcoins mostly go toward the Southeast Asia market, and they get off ramped into cash in those places like Cambodia. And that's how they're doing their operations. They usually take the money, they don't mix it that much. They just actually just be very quick with taking the money to a different place, which would be an exchange, and then exchanging it to USDT coins or something like that, and then move the money to a few other entities in the Southeast Asian market, and then they actually off ramp and cash it out there. And they exchange it for cash, or I don't know if they exchange it for other things, probably Bitcoin and others, but like in a peer-to-peer way. I'm not sure about that. And they employ like it is like they're very good with doing that. It's like there's a lot because there's a lot of it's an organized crime kind of thing. So it's they have multiple ways of like exchanging the funds, cashing them out, moving funds. They employ a big network of like money mules and exchangers and like all sorts of things to just not to be caught. So you're not faced with casual scammer or let's say an enthusiast scammer. It's like you're against like the top dogs and scamming people all over the world. So and like these kind of scammers have been making billions of dollars in revenue actually, and it's been recorded like some actually reported as more than $10 billion. And it's kind of big. It's kind of scary because like we have like I as an educator in this space and also a researcher, I've been telling people like well, you should like like conduct your own due diligence and do research everything that you want to do and things like that. And the thing is that the scammers are getting much more sophisticated, and they employ methods and tactics. So even if you search things, you're gonna be like you're gonna see legit responses like, yeah, which platform are we using? Like Coinbase. If you want to search, you're gonna see like that's not a scammer. That's okay. So, and like they're gonna like they're not gonna and it's not gonna look like we say scammers will ask for your money and things like that. These ones will not do. These ones will tell you there's a platform out there you could invest in it, and this is like their tactic to let you know that you're not paying me. It's like I'm not scamming you or something. It's like it's a legit operation. There's a platform out there. It's going to be another platform which is like less known or not known at all, and that platform will be controlled by the scammers, and they will send funds there, and they will get scammed. So you're not sending. So they're just so whatever you teach people, it's going to be like they're gonna find new
It's
ways
an
to.
arms race. If we go one
Yeah,
step
it's like a
further,
cat and mouse thing or arms race. It's just like it's a continuous thing. So it's like they will always find out ways how to scam people because it's a very, very profitable business for them. If it's there's a lot of money involved. So just as I said, the revenue for these kind of scams only was like more than $10 billion. So that's like a
a
huge
country, I
amount, and
guess.
that's yeah, that's actually more than some other illicit activities market. So I'm not sure, but this may like be equal to the drug market in that region of the world. So you could imagine that like criminals would be interested into getting new sources of revenue if they see that there's so much potential for that. So you could see that like how interesting and attractive that it would be for criminals to do all sorts of operations and like teams and things like that. So you should stick to your pocket and you should like be very cautious. It's not a safe space out there. It's like with
Yeah.
everything
While
being
some other
digital.
while some other scams are very aggressive and they ask for your money from message one, these are not aggressive. They take kind of turtle strategy or snail strategy. They go slowly and gain your confidence and then hit you with something. That's a very, very low time preference way of scamming. Um, so now I know more about pig butchering. Now, what's the latest on the Bybit hack and the research that we have done? We have talked about it in private, and there are, I know, aspects of it that we cannot still reveal. They are going to be uncovered because we don't want the bad guys to know much about where they are, making some mistakes or all. What can you share on it and share the results of the research you've done?
Yeah, so the last time we talked, it was about the Bybit hack, and that was like in February 2025, which is like 2 months ago. And since then, there's been like all sorts of stuff happening, and it is quite interesting. So, Lazarus, which is like, so there's a few other names too, but it's basically DPRK affiliated hacker group. So there have been like numerous reasons to consider that these are like Lazarus, and one of them is like it's just like their mode of operation is very very similar to what we've seen from Lazarus in the last years with other like cases and things happening. And the other one would be like some of the funds from Lazarus from previous hacks do get like consolidated in some ways together with these new hacks from Bybit. So it is like it is quite we could confidently say that it is like DPRK affiliated hackers. And so they stole, like they call it like the biggest heist in history, because like it's $1.5 billion of stolen funds. It was like quite interesting how they managed this sophisticated attack. And we previously talked about that, so I'm not gonna get into too much details on that, on how they did that. But it's like it was a mixture of social engineering, and if you actually exploiting a few of like a vulnerability in the UI, the user interface of the computers of the executives in Bybit, and making them sign something that they were not supposed to sign, and that's how they got the funds out. And then once they got the funds, it's like $1.55 billion. That's like a big amount, and you need to launder that. Like as a criminal, you need to launder that so to you be able to get a hold of that fund and use it. And it's so big that it's just like you cannot hide an elephant that easily in the crowd, because it's like the biggest entity there. So that's like that could be the best way to describe it. It's just like the elephant that is standing between a lot of humans. It's like too big to not see it. So it is kind of difficult to hide such an elephant. And what they have started doing is like they started breaking this amount to smaller pieces and trying to mix stuff, trying to hide their trail and break the chain of ownership on whenever they can. So they move across chains, they break into smaller pieces, and they consolidate to bigger pieces. They move off like the Ethereum, because like the hacked funds were Ethereum, and it was like a lot of Ethereum. So they moved a lot of funds from Ethereum to Bitcoin. And this shows like probably that like Bitcoin is has a little bit more privacy, so that's why they were like interested in doing that. And another thing is that Ethereum, I think that they don't trust Vitalik to not take their funds from them. So this is like a cheap blow to Vitalik right now. But yeah, so that's one of the things that got into my head. Like it's like they don't trust Ethereum that much to not to take their funds. So
Or they don't trust it
probably
to hold its value.
maybe I don't know. I know that they have like a portion of the amount on Ethereum, but it's like the amount that is being worked on to be laundered is like mostly in Bitcoin now. And then they started moving the funds through multiple ways, like exchanges. By exchanges, I mean like swap services mostly. Like one of the most famous ones that they have moved a lot of money through it is an exchange called EXCH, which is a swap service. It does claim a lot of things about privacy, that we don't log user activity, we do not do KYC, we do not do things like that. They've been around for a long time. And there's not much known about that. So it's like we don't know like who are the owners, the founders, where they live, or things like that. And they have been quite interesting and attractive for criminals in the past. So they do use this exchange. And there's a lot of other swap services like Changely, Change Now, Fixed Float, and others that have been also utilized, but they were utilized like at the first hours and the first probably days of the hack. And then since then, I think they're not being utilized because Bybit has published in a database of the Lazarus. So it's a continuously updating database of all hackers' addresses. And now exchanges know that if the funds are coming from Lazarus, and if like places like Fixed Float and others, if they receive the funds which they have received before, they will freeze it and give it back to Bybit. So that's why the hacker is not using that. And one other interesting thing is that the hacker is actually the hackers are actually doing coin joins to mix and actually break the heuristics here and like just disconnect the funds from its past, and so they would like be able to spend it somewhere else or cash it out for like cash or anything else. And so they've been using CoinJoins, and like multiple entities have been like teams and groups and companies have been saying like they've been utilizing Wasabi for mixing, which is like kind of odd and strange. So this was like actually one of the first things that got me really interested into doing this research. And it was like, okay, it's not Wasabi because we know for sure that Wasabi has stopped operations in early 2024, and they stopped, like they just stopped their coordinator, which was operated by Ziki Snacks. And that was like the official coordinator and everything. And I was like, okay, Wasabi software is definitely being used, but it's not like the entity is not Carlos. It's just like if you use Electrum Electrum wallet to send and receive funds to Binance, people would say like you're sending and receiving funds to Binance. They don't say you're sending and receiving funds to Electrum. So because it's just a tool, it doesn't matter. So, but the mixer, where are you mixing? So there have been a few community mixers in the space, like coordinators for CoinJoin coordinators, and I was like, I need to know which coordinator is being utilized. So there were a few coordinators, and I started collecting their mixing rounds. The mixing rounds is just like basically it's the transaction that is not like complete. It's an announced round of mixing, announced round of a CoinJoin transaction that like asks participants to come and join their coins, which is like CoinJoin. Yeah. So so I've been collecting the mixing rounds, and I've been taking a look and at the mixing rounds, and I've been also collecting data on Lazarus's fund transfers in the Bitcoin network, and whenever I see it gets into a CoinJoin transaction, I actually built a database of all the CoinJoins that have been carried out by actually have been all the CoinJoins that Lazarus have sent funds to or actually participated in those CoinJoin transactions. And I've been following up on, like, I've been building a database and analyzing the data here and cross-checking it with whatever that happens and goes to CoinJoin. So I've figured out like almost all transactions that are being like conducted, the CoinJoin transactions from Lazarus, are utilizing the mixing rounds that come from a coordinator called Crew, which is one of the Wasabi community members or contributors, I'm not sure, that have been running their coordinator for over a year now. And Crew is a user on actually on Twitter. They have a Twitter profile and everything. And actually, so the finding that Crew is being utilized a lot for Lazarus is utilizing that it could kind of be a little bit dangerous to Crew himself. And that's like I'm not like making any threats or something. I just want actually to the ecosystem to know that okay, there's things happening, and there's going to be people asking questions, and there's going to be probably FBI agents at your door when like such a thing happens. So they may come and ask you for like few things like data, like logs, like server logs, node logs, things like that. So even if they don't like try to prosecute you, which could maybe happen. So I'm not sure about that, but you should be like I wanted to let crew know that this is like this could quite be dangerous. So you should be very cautious of what's going on right now. And I know that ZK Snacks back in the day was employing a method of doing ZK Snacks. The Wasabi coordinator was trying to stop like sanctioned addresses, and it was a mixer which was OFAC compliant actually. So it is quite like ridiculous what's happening in the privacy space in Bitcoin actually nowadays. It just looks like it's not getting better. So these days, so there's no very good ways to do on-chain privacy at this moment, and yeah, and the only ways remaining are the things that could be exploited like this or used by people like Lazarus, and it could be detected, and then it could like raise suspicions and things like that. So this is like happening right now, and it is actually happening at this moment that we're talking. It's just like I have been monitoring this thing real time every day, and I'm seeing like how Lazarus is actually using the coordinator, and they do their mixing. And Crew is not a big coordinator. They don't have a lot of liquidity, so there may be some attempts to flood the flood their mixing pool and try to probably rule out other users funds
that are not
from
you. Yeah.
Lazarus's funds. Yeah, so it's like there could be an attempt. I'm not sure if such an operation is happening at this moment or not, but there may be a flooding operation happening that somebody like interested here, which could be probably Bybit sending a lot of bitcoins into the mixing grounds to just flood the space and find out and rule out the user. So they just take up most of the space in the transaction. So if Lazarus joins with them, they would know which outputs would be belong to Lazarus in the next transactions. So that may be something that could happen. This will reduce privacy for ordinary users too. And there's got to be a few more ways that could prove as kind of concerning, both for Crew and the Bitcoin ecosystem and for users who use that coordinator. So, and I know that some projects in the space have started actually rejecting like I've seen a post from Bolt's exchange that they will reject transactions from CoinJoins that come from coordinator that have been associated in the inputs with a Lazarus uh, address, which is like the best kind of mitigation that you could do and be like kind of friendly to the ecosystem here too, because they're not blocking all coin joins from Crew, but they're blocking the ones that have inputs from Lazarus. So it's like they don't know about the outputs, but they know that the inputs come from Lazarus. So that's how they're actually trying to. And I've seen like others. So I'm actually doing a few more investigations and research into this thing, and those ones about other things, other technologies being utilized by Lazarus in the Bitcoin ecosystem. I cannot talk about these ones right now, so because like it's not quite public right now. I'm waiting for the best time to publish them. So probably we could talk about those ones at the right time. But I'm seeing Lazarus trying to utilize a lot of stuff in the Bitcoin ecosystem because they want to hide the funds however they can. So this have been like a very eye-opening experience to research like the biggest kind of criminals in the cryptocurrency, the whole cryptocurrency ecosystem, and see how they work and see how they will do things like that. And it is like they will not, they just don't care. It's like they're criminals, they just want to make money, and they will utilize any tool at their hand, and they don't care if you will get a blame here and there, and like if you let them use your platform or service. So I was like, I'm not gonna let Bitcoin projects like probably get affected by not knowing that they're being utilized. So I've been contacting a lot of Bitcoin projects in the last few weeks and letting them know that, okay, you're being utilized by this and you could probably mitigate it this way. And some of them have been very friendly and they have been very welcoming. And we actually this is like I cannot like show official proof of that, but we have disrupted some of Lazarus's mixing or actually laundering efforts in some specific areas, and which was like quite nice to hear that, to have like an to help some of the projects in the space to get rid of this Lazarus problem, which could like become like probably a big thing maybe in the future. So
I hope you can answer this question of mine in a short time so we can wrap up soon.
yeah,
I'm a hacker. I imagine that the North Korea realizes that I am very smart and they want to hire me to do some of the hacks. And I pull off the hack, and afterwards I want to launder it. And I would say instead of passing it through exchanges, I would pass it through various um, self-custodial wallets instead of that, connected to a VPN. And at the end, at some point, I would use Lightning transactions and Lightning channels to launder that. Why do they use exchanges when they are KYCs? They are under regulations and they are not using
yeah,
self-custodial wallets.
that's a
And why
great
aren't?
question.
Yeah,
That's a great question. So first, it would be like most privacy offering tools and projects will not be able to give you a high throughput. So it's like this is like 1.5 billion dollars. That's like 1,500 million dollars.
lots of
So it's
Bitcoin.
like, yeah, that's a lot of money, and it is not possible to easily move that fund. So it's not possible to utilize like Lightning for big amounts or something, but probably could do so. So that's another topic. And you cannot like utilize privacy coins even like Monero and others. It's not easy to utilize them and then get results with it because it's not easy to cash it out. And it's like there's not much exchanges supporting it. There's not much liquidity, and there's not much exchangers like buyers and sellers for it in other parts of the world. They even don't care about like Bitcoin. They just want Bitcoin to because like it's kind of liquid and you can change it to use stable coins, and then they would sell the stable coins for cash in other parts of the world, and they just take the cash. So they will eventually probably change Bitcoin to stable coins too. And then that's something that you could like always find a way to cash out for cash. And in most places on earth. So that's what they're trying to do. So they will have to do this. And a very interesting thing about KYC. So like in face of criminals, KYC is just like the situation with other things that I'm not sure that if you will mention things like guns and things like that on the channel, it would like be have like problems. Or but it's just like that discourse, that scenario. It's just like that. So the bad guys always know how to circumvent and go around KYC, and the good guys have to do KYC. And KYC will become something that will impact the good guys because now you have a lot of sensitive data on an exchange that could be exploited by bad guys. So it's like it's not the best. So it's like they make you do KYC, they force you to do KYC, and then that KYC will not actually be effective when you need it, when you want to stop a big and large operation like Lazarus utilizing exchanges. And exchanges are basically, I could call them like probably regulated and KYC mixers because like that's one of the things that the 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 hackers are very interested in with exchanges, just like a big pot filled with all sorts of coins, and they just put their coins there and take the same coins from a different place, and that's just like centralized mixing, but like in a regulated way. And it's quite easy to buy a KYC account or for like hackers or set up accounts, and there's going to be lots of like AI stuff in the future probably that could generate like all the government IDs and all the proofs for the KYC and everything like that. So right now it's just like that. The good guys don't have enough tools to protect themselves, but the bad guys will utilize the same like thing that is supposed to stop them to do whatever they want. And it is a flawed kind of a logic with KYC, and that's how it's going on. And like they do like to utilize exchanges because, well, it's easy to get an account for the hackers. As I said, it's a flawed process. It just works for the good guys. So you just KYC the good guys, and that's like that.
Works against them, works against the
Yeah.
good guys.
Yeah, so you're a good user. You just want to use something, and you optimally don't want to share sensitive information about yourself and your funds, but they have forced you to do KYC. And then this KYC will not stop bad things happening, actually. Whenever there's a bad actor wants to do something on an exchange, they just easily get it, like some kind of an access to an account or something. I'm not sure about like about the very specific details of how this works, but it's just like usually they call someone, like they pay someone to KYC instead on their behalf, or they use just fake documents to build accounts, and then they just move the money across the exchange and making it quite difficult to trace it after it moves through the exchange. So you need to talk with the exchange, do some kind of a mutual assistance, and collaborate with them to get some data. And it's not going to be very easily attainable data. You need like few like law enforcement permits and stuff like that, or I don't know, letters. And so you won't be getting like receiving data easily to do more investigation and research into the hacker. So that's why they use exchanges. So it's just like they're just too good to be left out here.
Thank you so much. That was a great explanation, and you really clearly showed how they can be used as CoinJoin services. So I think we covered everything. It was a great wrap, and See you next time, and thanks for everyone who watched the show and followed us.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Thank you for having me. See you later.